long study of labor and maybe from your reviewing what's happening in the world, the economy in the United States, low-wage workers, attempts at unionization, even my old employer, UPS, scaring a lot out of people in determining whether to have strikes. The concepts that parallel this description of Leviticus and of self-governance, I consider to be within two words of sort of the labor movement. One is solidarity, and one is union democracy. I would never criticize or put down solidarity. It's a wonderful concept. It's a vital thing. It is basically staying with your kahal, your union community, through thick and thin and hanging together. But in union history, that can also be where the cult enters. That can be where trouble occurs. It has its dangers. It can lead to a priestly leadership of a union basically taking control and assuming or requiring compliance from its membership. That parallel has actually been visited upon me in my life, both as a lawyer and as a union advocate. Union democracy is about learning the governance of the union, having some degree of majority rule, and applying that to your organization and learning how to run it and sharing the power and sharing the decision making. Somewhere within these two is a vital balance. And so I will end actually this drash or devar by saying that from a union lawyer's perspective, the model, example, and trouble of this is sometime take a minute and look at the recent history of the United Auto Workers. The United Auto Workers just won a big contract. It's a new union leader, and it's a vital example of communal transformation in terms of an economy that's changed, et cetera, et cetera. But the United Auto Workers just saw its 2 to 3 top leaders indicted federally for running a cult, for having, this is 3 years ago, for having had leadership that was caught up in a non-democratic, worn-out system of governance that has now been replaced by a communal majority vote union democracy. And so there, I will end this with that notion that there is application of these concepts. Maybe it's the surprise I promised, which is that within this vital notion of community is our lessons for governance. We must apply self-governance, our lessons in governance locally, deeply, radically, and urgently in order to save our national government from what is apparently or possibly next. We have crisis in our ancestral homeland. We have crisis in our national governance. I recommend to you not necessarily reading Leviticus in every word of it, but appreciating that there are messages in the tiny aleph that we have to pay close attention to. Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Jonathan. Shabbat Shalom to you.
Thank you.
Plenty of food for thought when we have food out in the community court for our Oneg Shabbat. We want to invite the community to turn in the prayer book to page 123. And we offer Kiddush together, as Jonathan had mentioned. On page 123, we offer the Kiddush for Shabbat evening.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodesho, ve'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lemaaseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila, למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושעת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת לחיים.
Have some water. Thank you. We want to continue our service now on page 586 with Aleinu. Again, we invite the congregation to rise in body or in spirit for Aleinu, page 586 at the top of the page.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
You may be seated. We continue on page 591.
May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved, each of us, for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו אחד.
Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may the memory of the righteous be a blessing. There are those whom we remember who are no longer part of our lives. They no longer inhabit the world we live in, but they still infuse our spirits with goodness, with wisdom, with teachings, with memories, memories that make us cry sometimes and memories that sustain us. And so we remember those who died in recent days and those whose Yartzeiten occur at this time, remembering the deeds they performed and how they influence us for good, even now. The recent deaths in our community and the Yartzeiten will be read, and if you are tonight present remembering someone, either because you're in mourning or because you're observing a Yartzeit, we invite you to rise as the name of your loved one is recited, and then you'll be joined by the whole community as together we recite the Mourner's Kaddish. These are those whom we've taken into our hearts with our own. Our community's recent losses, we remember with love Jerry Stewart, a beloved member of this congregation, husband of Vicky Stewart. We remember Shirley Breslow, aunt of Marilyn Kupferberg, and a beloved member of this community, Barbara Bernstein, the wife of Howard Bernstein. And these are the Yartzeiten that we observe at this time: James Catrona, Aaron Cohen, Marv Connie, Ivy Drazen Edelman, Irving Israel Folberg, Bobby Frank, Jack Gustafson, Rogine S. Halpop, Jerome Edward Kahn, Kenneth R. Kaplan, Gladys D. Kaufman, Gary Kaufman, Esther Klinger, Zelda Cutler, Bella Leiser, Maxine Mail, Milton Mail, Harry Marion, Alan Orenstein, Dorothy Pollock Kirby, Diana Renner, Michael Schwartz, Sari Lynn Smith, Samuel R. Suchman, Charlotte Sweet, Norma Wollens, James Wolfson. We remember in our hearts and memories the victims of October 7th terror attack in Israel, as well as all of the innocent victims of terror, murder, and war in that region and around the world. And this year, this day, this week, perhaps because we do have union organized labor on our mind and people who do things for us that we may not do. We remember 6 victims who fell to their deaths this past Tuesday evening or Monday evening at the collapse of the bridge in Baltimore. Alejandro Hernandez Fuentes, Dorlian Ronial Castillo Cabrera, Miguel Luna, Menor Yasir Suazo Sandoval, Jose Lopez, and apparently one yet unidentified victim. Again, they represent not only those workers on that bridge, some of whom were able to escape death, but all those, again, who do things for us that we may not be in the mind to do, as they filled potholes on that bridge and they were repairing that bridge that night. There may be others in our community this evening who are remembering loved ones, and if you would like to add your loved one's name to our list of memory, we invite you to do so now. Zichronam livracha. May all their memories be blessings in our hearts and our minds. We invite the community now to turn to page 598, and as a community, we rise as one in body or in spirit to offer the words of the mourner's Kaddish, thanking God for the lives that were shared with us and thanking God for those who comfort us when we are most grieved and pained by our loss. Please join one another. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, shemei d'kudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'yimeru amen. Yehei shalama rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imeru amen. Please be seated. Before our service ends tonight, first I'd like to thank all the members of the Men's Club who participated in tonight's service, and those who, a few even find out at the last moment that they were participating. Thank you all so very much. Thank you again to Sanford Karimi and to Cantor Jacob Namey for preparing such a beautiful service. Thank you to Jonathan Rosenblum for offering your words of Torah tonight and your words of labor support. We all support that. We all support your being here and being here for this. Just a few brief announcements. First, tomorrow morning, there will be Torah study at 9 o'clock, looking at the first 8 chapters of the book of Joshua. That'll be here at Temple Beth El and on Zoom at 9 o'clock in the morning. Next Friday evening at 5:15 p.m. will be Likrat Shabbat family dinner. And at 6 o'clock will be our Likrat Shabbat, welcoming Shabbat worship that is for the whole community and is led by all grade levels of our religious school. Please join us as we honor our students and we honor one another by being here together. And also on Saturday, April 6th at 9 o'clock in the morning, more Torah study. On that week will be King David in the book of Samuel. And also at 4:30 that afternoon, we celebrate the bar mitzvah of Cole Klein, son of Carrie and Jacob Klein, as we gather for Mincha service to further our beautification of Shabbat. Please note all of the announcements that are on the page here in the back of the program. I'm not going to enumerate them, but please can be sure to participate in all of the things that we do here at Temple Beth El. I now would like to invite you to turn in the supplement to page 4.
This song doesn't necessarily have to be sung only on our Men's Club Shabbat, though it has kind of ended up that way a little bit. It's really just a song about fellowship and friendship and finding joy in that. So we'll sing a bit together, first in Yiddish, then in English, then maybe in a little bit more Yiddish. And I'm not going to teach it to y'all. We'll get into it together. Wir seinen alle Brüder, oi, oi, alle Brüder. Wir singen freiliche Lieder, oi, oi, oi. Und wir halten sich in einem, oi, oi, sich in einem. Als solches ist nicht nur bei keinem, oi, oi, oi. Ai, 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 ai. Ai, 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 ai. Ai, 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 ai. Ai, 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 ai. Ai, 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 ai. Ai, 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 ai. We are here as friends and brothers, oi, oi, friends and brothers. We all sing with one another, oi, oi, oi. And as friends we stick together, oi, oi, stick together. Oh, the storms that we can weather, oi, oi, oi. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us for the Oneg Shabbat, sponsored by our sisterhood.